what's up? It's just Gems. I came across a tweet that I wanted to share with you and kind of discuss it. The tweet reads, I was talking to my mom and she was saying a bunch of stuff she refused to do in relationships as she is 67 years old, single, and moving into her son's house. And this is an ongoing problem. So she's 67, still with a bunch of don't do's on a list and what she won't tolerate as she's moving into her son's home. Now, I don't know if it's the home her son lives in with his family or with himself, or if it's a side house that he may own that he could rent out to somebody. But either way, that is a burden upon her son. And she may not look at it that way. I'm sure it's one of those, well, I kept you and I helped you all through your life and blah, blah, blah. But the parent, an able-bodied parent, is not supposed to be the child's burden. And he didn't mention that she wasn't able-bodied, but he just mentioned her age. And maybe she's retired at this point. But that does not mean the responsibility falls on her son. At some point, you may have to look at yourself and do an assessment of yourself and see what do you bring to the table. And you may have to adjust that list of what you won't tolerate, what you're not going to do in a relationship. At that point, when she's saying what she's not going to do, she didn't even say tolerate. She just said what she wasn't willing to do. But, ma'am, you obviously are incapable of taking care of yourself at this point and being able to even have your own place to live. If something happens to her son, then what? Does she end up homeless or staying somewhere in the actual dumps? Your retirement plan cannot be your son. That cannot be your fallback game. Your retirement plan is, I'll go stay with my daughter and her kids. That's not an adequate retirement plan. You have to make good choices and good decisions on your way through your life. And even at 67, it's not impossible to find love or find somebody to spend your life with, the rest of the life with. But you cannot be disagreeable about everything and just have a whole list of things you're not willing to do. Ma'am, do you want to die alone? It's not the responsibility of your son or your child to have to make sure your needs are met. Regardless of how you raised them, they didn't ask to be born. Children didn't ask to be brought here and born. They are not indebted to you. But of course, out of loyalty, hopefully you raised them with enough integrity and honor that they would still go ahead and make sure you're straight. But that shouldn't be their responsibility. And for her to tell this son who's moving her in, and that he didn't say or whatever whether he was married or whatever, but you don't know what kind of strain that puts on the son. What if he is married and now his wife has to go along with this and she might not even be with it? And some mamas just don't even give a damn about that. And well, she won't be my son. She gonna have to deal with me too. But that is not right. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. It's about making proper choices out here. And that goes for men too, because I do know there are some single men that played the field when they were younger and was from one woman to the next. And now they're old, depending on children, depending on siblings, nieces, nephews, to help them in any medical stuff, any decisions that need to be made, because they did not make proper decisions and get a wife. So they can grow old together, go to doctor's appointments together, help each other out. That's what it's all about when you grow old with somebody or when you marry somebody, even once you're already old. But this mentality of, oh no, I'm not settling for less. Ma'am, you're 67. You're not going to find that 6'2" man. He got to be shaped like this and that, and you're shaped like a bowling ball. That's not going to work. Or I'm not finna cook. Well, do the men that you like, the type of man that you would go with, Do they like women that cook? Do they like women that garden? Do they like women that make a special effort to look like something every day, look nice and presentable? What do the type of men that you would actually accept, what do they want? That's what we have to start asking. Those are the type of questions. And a lot of people hated on Kevin Samuels, but a lot of the stuff he said was right. It just didn't come packaged in a pretty bow and package, but a lot of stuff he said had merit to it. You have to bring something other than a 67-year-old vagina to the table. That's not going to cut it. That's part of it, I'm sure, but you have to figure out what the men that you want, what do they want? Not every 67-year-old man is looking for a 40-year-old, a 32-year-old. Some are looking for women that are their age so they can get along and understand each other on a different level. But what do they want? And we have to, our women have to not be selfish and think about me, but think about what burdens you're laying on other people to have to care for you in your older age. And that we don't even have to just look at this particular situation where the lady is already 67. Some women that are in their 40s or in their 30s, you may need to reevaluate the list of don't do's, the list of you not going to tolerate. Oh, nah, he this or that, he ain't 6'2", or he's not already established. He works and he has an apartment, but he don't have no house yet. It's things that you may have to see. Okay, well, let me look a little deeper. Why doesn't he have a house? Maybe he didn't want to get tied down with a mortgage and he doesn't have a wife yet. Maybe he was waiting on that partner. But you can't be rattling off men off the list from circumstantial small things or things that you have to look deeper under the surface to see what's going on there. And I'm not saying you got to get a man that is 45 with no car and struggling. No, but there are men that are 45 and doing well. What do they want in a woman? And are you able to do that? Are you more stuck on what you not gonna do? I like to go out on Saturdays with my homegirls, and every 3 months we go on a cruise and all of that. And then you try to take the man and put him in your program instead of creating a program for you and him. And you still include your friends because you don't have to get rid of all your friends, but you have to be able to adjust your program to fit with the program of somebody in a relationship or somebody who's actively trying to get chose. You can't put yourself and all your wants and desires on this pedestal, and his are just supposed to be over there in his bag like, oh, well, you don't get to get your wants and needs met because it's all about me, because I have a vagina. That's not how that works. And if you look at the data, they're showing the highest rates for people getting evicted belong to black women. That's the highest demographic of people being evicted. And there's a reason for that. Because we have women like this lady, 67 years old, with no partner in life, depending on children. And anything can happen. What if his finances aren't handled correctly and he ends up losing foreclosure on his house or something, and he can't take care of his mother? What is she going to do? And that's not right to have that burden on those kids like that. So women and men, I want to encourage you to, if you're single and you're aging, think about, okay, what's going to happen if something happens and you can't go to work? Something happens and your check doesn't come. Something happens and you need medical assistance and you're just in your home alone on the floor. It's things like that you have to consider. Who are you going to call? And do you want to be a burden on your children? Do you want to be a burden on your nieces, nephews, your neighbors? Find a partner to love. God didn't send us here to be alone. and to just go through life alone, or to be meddling in your children's affairs because you don't have nothing going on. But I just wanted to share that and encourage everyone to look in the mirror and see, man, do a self-assessment. Maybe you need to drop some of those don't do's and what I'm not going to tolerate, and he got to have this, and this, and I'm going to do this and this. You might need to adjust that list and see if maybe the problem is you and not the other person. Because it's enough black homeless people out here, and we don't need that. We don't need to add to it. And we definitely, don't need no aging population of black people on the street. So let's get it together and just figure out what's best for your family and for yourself. Not being alone, being a burden, or just being alone. That's not what's up. That's not how you were meant to be here on this earth. But that's my time. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, peace.